Tengslamat var sem sagt með námskeið fyrir fagaðila úr öllum bara ólíku fagstéttum. Það sem var í fyrsta sinn þar sem við buðum upp á að erlendi fyrirlesari kæmu og væri með námskeið fyrir fagaðila sem væri svona eins og klínískt matstæki til þess svona viðtalsform þar sem við erum að tala um upplifun foreldra og eigin foreldrahlutverki og upplifun þeirra á eigin börnum sem að síðan er hægt að nota til að styðja við börn og fjölskyldur í frekari vinnu.
Well, we're here partly to enjoy Iceland, but also mainly perhaps to teach a course on the meaning of the child interview to professionals here in Hafnarfjörður, if that's how you pronounce it.
It's a tool that we use to understand parents and children, and the general idea is that you can understand how the relationship is going by talking to the parent and listening to how they talk about their child. And how they talk about their child tells you quite a lot before you even meet the child about how things are going in the relationship. You know, what's going well, what's more difficult, and what they might need help with, maybe.
We're very interested in looking not just at behaviour that's kind of wrong, if you like, but understanding difficulties in parenting as survival strategies, the things that people have had to learn to do to manage difficulties in their history, but is now affecting them as parents. So rather than trying to take a certain kind of behaviour and say, oh, we don't like that, we're trying to understand that behaviour may well actually be partly the result of what parents have needed to do to survive. So what that helps is try and understand parents not simply kind of blaming bad behaviour, but understanding why things have occurred in a useful way to help intervene. I think the other thing is that there tends to be a tendency to see parenting as a kind of job in which you do well or you do badly, rather than a relationship, and a relationship that can be going well or can be going not so well. And that the difference is very important because because when you start thinking of a job, you think about tasks, what you do. When you start thinking in a relationship, you think also how do you feel. And there are many parents who are trying very hard to do the right things, but they don't feel the right things. And of course the child picks up on that and that affects the relationship.
I think a lot of the time we ask parents kind of what their parenting is like, and they tell us what they think they should be like. Most people have an idea about what good parenting looks like, and quite often they'll tell you, you know, the things they think you want to hear, and they'll tell you maybe the edited version of their parenting. And I think our measure is quite good because it gets around some of that. So it's less about what you know about being a parent, and it's less about kind of the ideal, and more about your actual experience of being a parent. And some of that might be quite hard to describe. And so the measure's quite good at pulling out people's actual experience in a way that we can understand what's going on the inside.
This is an instrument, a tool that can look at how parents feel as well as what they're trying to do, and will help people understand how to make things better with that, rather than simply the other problem about looking at what people do is a lot of parenting assessments, the way people look at parenting, they ask, parents know what they should be doing. That's kind of not the issue. It is with a few people, but with a lot of the most significant and serious problems, in not that parents don't know what to do, it's that they're not able to do it when they're stressed, when they feel angry, when they feel upset. So this is something that scratches below the surface and helps professionals see what's going on, I guess, when things are difficult and how parents really feel, and perhaps therefore can lead to intervention, a more powerful intervention, as well as in the most serious cases understanding risk a little better than just simply asking parents whether they know their stuff. It's a little bit like a driving test. You can't understand how somebody drives just by asking them whether they know the rules of the road and so on. You actually have to see them drive, and you have to see them drive in conditions that are difficult, when there's, in Iceland, when there's snow on the road, when they're, you know, desperate to get there quickly. And these kind of tools help you look if you like, a little bit more about how people feel under pressure, not just what they know in theory.
Það skortur á matstækjum í vinnu með börnum og fjölskyldum, þannig að fá þau hingað, þau eru að kenna á meistarastigi við Roehampton háskóla, að fá þau til að koma hingað og kenna við lífsgæðasetri. Í rauninni bara, já, það er bara mjög flott að fá svona flotta fagaðila til að koma að kenna og fólk úr ólíku fagstéttum hafi tækifæri til að sækja þessa þekkingu hérna heima á Íslandi.
Well, as I understand it, there isn't very much training on attachment in Iceland. I mean, there's not a lot of training on attachment and parenting in the UK, actually, not as much as professionals would like. But certainly we heard that there's a little bit of a gap sometimes in Icelandic services about understanding parents and children relationships, so we were invited and we were glad to come. Yeah.
I think there is a real interest in across different professionals, child protection professionals, occupational therapists, psychologists and so on, in ways that scratch below the surface. I think this isn't just in Iceland. We have interest, but obviously in the UK, but also Ireland and other places. So I think this is an international kind of interest in things that help people. I think a lot of the tools that are around just look at whether people are doing things well or badly, but don't give enough about why, don't explain. And I think there is a real interest here in something that's practical, something that you can do, but also something that will help really explain.
I think what was really interesting is that social workers and psychologists in Iceland are very similar to social workers and psychologists everywhere, really. So after a while, I sort of started forgetting that I was in Iceland because the issues are so similar and the professional questions are so similar, you know, what we're all trying to do to help families.
Og hópurinn sem sótti námskeið, þetta ekki fólk sem ég endilega þekki mikið, heldur þetta fólk bara úr ólíkum geirum með ólíka menntun og þyrstir í að geta vita meira svo sé hægt að styðja við börn og foreldra.
That it's not just about what we can give out, but also by teaching it somewhere else, we learn something new. There's always a difference, and it's been a real pleasure here. It's a fascinating building. I don't think we have anything, a project that's bringing together so many different kind of businesses and projects to help people together. It's been a lovely place to teach, but also we've been hosted with a lot of thoughtfulness that has made the whole thing a pleasure.